Hello, this is video number 138, along with the other video on this page, which Michelle did, and talk about a few things here first before I get into the whole New Year's part of this. If you've been to the other parts of the website, you'll notice that the email for the website's working again. I finally got them to respond to my messages. I think they had difficulty with the email for their whole site, not just my site, but their whole whatever you call it, their big site that my site is a part of. So that's up and running again. I kept the other Yahoo account email address there in case that happens again, which you never know. All this technology and stuff, I don't know. Okay, my cold is almost gone, finally. Still got a little bit of sinus stuff going on. The pain in the head that I talked about the last time is gone. That did come back the next day a little bit, and then for like 2 or 3 days it got less and less and less. And so today, haven't had it. I did a good workout this morning. I finally decided I got to bite the bullet here and do less resistance, like less weight. I've always been one to try to work up to more and more weight, but getting too old for that, obviously. So did less resistance today, a little bit less. It was a good workout. I could tell like my joints were not affected, so it was just more like the muscle kind of part. So just do more repetitions and less resistance there. See, it's New Year's Eve, going into my son's tonight. He's having, I think, chicken and beef tacos. I love tacos. I like to eat. So that'll be fun. We're going to meet my daughter in there. She's going to have our grandson. He comes home tonight with us for a sleepover while they party. We don't party anymore. I've never been a real big partier, but well, we'll kind of party with our grandson. It'll be fun. We'll have a good time. We'll play with probably play with his little marble game that he got that for Christmas that has the chutes and different things. He liked that. After he left the other day, I got it out myself, and I made it so that you can use all of the pieces. And to do that, you have to have part of it on a table and then another part down on the floor, because gravity is what makes it go, and there was not enough pieces to just build it all on one level. So I took a picture of it. Maybe he'll want to try that or not. I don't know. So we'll have fun tonight for sure. See what else. Another person had ECT yesterday, just as a point of information for you. The jury is still out on that. Immediately after the ECT, you do feel really wonky and weird. You're dizzy, disoriented, derealization. Your stomach can get upset and so forth. So she had all of that, and she didn't like that. I remember that very well. Like when I had it done, I remember I was in a wheelchair actually, and I was inpatient, so they took me back to my room and made me lie down for like an hour or something. So that's real common stuff. She said that wore off, and later in the day she had like a window that sort of like she has usually. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. The jury is still out on ECT, and if it can give some relief or not, I don't know. I'm not really pushing it. I'm more into this other research and trying to find a real answer here, like something that actually does make sense. Okay, I got one email I want to talk about before I get into the bulk of this. It's from John. This is one that he had sent this to me, and I was going to talk about it, but then my email went down on the website, and I couldn't get into my email, so I couldn't read it again. So I'll go over this one real quick here, and this is pretty cut and dry. He says, do you think you could ever have a drink again, like 1 or 2 Johnny Blacks? After a year and a half off, I occasionally have 3 fingers of JB. Would this screw you up again? Not sure benzos are the same as good 12-year-old scotch. Have a happy holiday. Holiday has been pretty happy. Alcohol's bad news in withdrawal. It really is. It would screw me up for sure, because I would say I'm not an alcoholic now. I mean, AA would disagree with that. But if I would begin drinking again, I would be an alcoholic, and I would be out of control, and I was to the point where there was no buzz anyway. I got no good feeling from it, so I really had no desire. But I mean, you're asking for yourself, and this question comes up a lot on Benzo Buddies and other forums, and like it's bad news to be drinking. It just because alcohol affects the same receptors, different binding sites on the receptors, but the GABA A receptors, alcohol does affect them. I did have some alcohol after I had gotten well. I mistakenly ate some dessert that had quite a bit of Jägermeister drizzled on it, and it screwed me up for a while. For about 20 minutes I had the realization, and I had the pain in my TMJ on my jaws, and it did go away, fortunately. I was glad of that. So I would stay away from the Johnny Black, even though, like, 12-year-old Scotch, I remember that. It's yeah, I do. I would stay away from it. Okay, the new year. We got a new year coming up here, and first of all, I want to thank Michelle for the video that she sent to me this morning. She sent it actually on Facebook. I would like to thank her for that, and for the videos that she's done all year. And just for being like there for me for some things that are going on in my life, and just being here for me in this website, because I didn't know. I mean, I honestly didn't know what I was doing when I started this whole thing. I had no clue what I was doing, and she showed up just very early in the whole process, and like she encouraged me and did all this. She's just quite a nice person. She's a very nice lady. She's very special. And I would like to thank everybody too over the year for the kind words, many kind words to me. I appreciate that. Believe me, that helps me to keep going. Believe it or not, it's just a positive thing for me that I know that what I'm doing is appreciated, and it does help people, and I thank you for all of that. And it does amaze me that people who can suffer so much still can have in their heart, they can have like the gratitude and the appreciation. I'm very thankful for that. Okay, in the last year, 2016, and I don't keep count of people who get well. I really don't. I've probably known about a dozen people in 2016 who basically were well. They got well, some after not too many months, and some, like in their second and third year. There's one in particular, I mentioned her, I think, many videos ago. A young lady who I helped for like 3 years. We're still in contact. She was drugged for postpartum depression 6 years ago. Her son, I think he actually turned 6 this month. She's a very private person, so you don't, early on she was on Facebook, I think, for a while, and then she left. She's a very private person. So her withdrawal lasted about 3 years. Hers was one of those that the first 2 years, like mostly mental stuff, very bad mental, like anxiety, panic attacks, very bad depression, intrusive thoughts. She really had a lot of intrusive thinking, especially about her son, and that all left. And then like she got hit with like a lot of physical stuff, and she may still have some of the physical, but I would say she's well. She was well enough that she got pregnant again, and she's going to have another baby here. She's expecting actually in January, next month, at the end of the month. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hanging around for her because she had postpartum depression with her first child, and I know the thing that has been special about her, and I've hung with her for so long, is my mother died when I was young, and she had postpartum depression, and she was drugged, and I've always been told she committed suicide because the drugs just kept her in depression. And I was like 8 years old then, so she was suffering for a long time. So I have this, it's a soft spot for, like, I guess little kids, they need a mother for sure. I could have used a mother longer than 8 years. Even during those 8 years, she was not a happy person. She didn't smile much. She spent a lot of time in bed. So this young lady, I have a soft spot in my heart for her, and for her son, and for this next one coming too. Okay, 2016 was a pretty good year. Did the website. It's funny, I started out with a goatee. Like, remember the very first one, I didn't I really messed up in the first video. I wasn't talking loud enough, or I think I didn't have the sound set loud enough, high enough. But I corrected that. But I had the goatee and that. And now I got this. Pretty amazing, really. If you go from the first one to the last one, it's something. I'm looking forward to the next good thing. I talk about this some, and I get this from. I talked about this once. My first AA meeting, I met a guy named Don. The first person I met when I got there was Don. He was this happy, joyous, free person. He was just always positive, and he would always say, "I'm looking for the next good thing." And he would often say, "Do the next right thing," but he was always looking for the next good thing. So I always remembered that. At the time, I didn't know what he was talking about, but as I have gotten well, like not just from like the drinking, but also from benzo withdrawal. Yeah, the next good thing is awesome. It really, really is. But when I went through it was bad. It was just, and I am no kid either. I know in Michelle's video she says, "I am no kid," meaning like she's no spring chicken anymore. But neither am I. And she made it through. You know, she said like she was, you know, she's not a young person anymore. Neither am I. She was on for many years on benzos. I was too. 13 years for me. I drank as well. Miracle that I'm alive. So this is doable. This is very, very doable. Every one of you can do this. There's nothing particularly special about her or me in like that sense. There's just two people who plugged away, grasped for all the hope we could find, you know, looking for it anywhere, any positive thing, anything that could help us, and we got through. And you will too. You can do it. Anyone can do this. Okay, at this time of year, I like to reflect a little bit anyway, because 7 years ago today, I was at the very beginning of this mess. I had quit drinking in October. I went through a holiday season that was absolutely horrendous. And I thought all my trouble was from not drinking, that I had quit drinking, and I drank so many years that I thought, well, I'm in post-acute withdrawal from the booze. Well, it took another, well, I hadn't even gone to the psych hospital yet at this point 7 years ago. I still was just thinking it was the alcohol. 2 weeks later, after like this date, I did actually go to the hospital. I was suicidal. In fact, this is the room that my drawer is right over here, the sock drawer that I had all my pills in, and I was going to take and do myself in. So this, you know, this day has particular meaning to me, because it was the beginning 7 years ago, just a very, very bad time. It took me another, several months a few months to realize that, or to at least hear that my problem really was the Klonopin I was on, and then that I would have to get off of that too. And it's been a journey, as you know. Like some of you are right in the middle of it. I know it is quite a journey, and it's no fun while you're going through. I know that it's just it's torture. It's torture. So anyway, I like to reflect on things this time of year. When I look back on my whole life and everything, maybe as you get older, you kind of look back on your life, and my childhood was not good, but there were good things. Like, you know, you just kind of, you look back on the whole thing, and like it's hard to imagine my earliest memories, like the little guy that I was, and I still feel like that little guy, except I'm in this much older body now that doesn't do the things that the body of the little guy did. So that's how it goes. But I still look forward to the next good thing. And maybe I have a pie in the sky view of life, but I try to imagine what it will be like on Earth here, the next good thing. There's got to be a lot of next good things, but it's not going to be in a physical way, because my body's not as young as it used to be. But I kind of look at it, there will come a point where I look at it like there's a body waiting for me. It's already been prepared. It's like, I try to imagine, like it's like the 20-year-old body I had, you know, like when I was 20, like that body. Like I can't even imagine being in that body again. Like all the things I could do. I could run and throw a ball and just do all kinds of things. Lift weights really heavy. Do amazing things. I was flexible, and And then age got the best of me, the arthritis and that. So I look at it like when I step off of this earth, there is a body that's really good waiting for me, better than the 20-year-old body that I had. That's my next good thing. That's like, okay, I'm tired of this body. Let's get in a new one here and let's go forward. It's the next good thing, because there's always going to be a next good thing forever. You know, I look at it forever. Anyway, we got a new year coming up here, 2017. It's amazing, really. I remember when it was Y2K and we thought maybe the world would end or something, but 2017. Resolutions. I've never been one to make resolutions because nobody really keeps them. I never thought that I could, so I didn't really do too much with it. But this year I want to make a resolution. And it'll be for the research part of this. I'm very, very hopeful from things that I've seen. The thing that I talked to you about in one of the last videos about the injection of the ganglion in the spine. I think that's very interesting. That in itself, that might not be the answer, but it kind of goes into a different kind of way of looking at this, where psych drugs in general, they affect the brain, the neurotransmitter systems, benzos, the GABAergic system, antidepressants, a couple other different systems and so forth. So they all affect that, and it's not in all people, but in a lot of people that take these drugs, there's trauma. There is trauma, and I think withdrawal, or sometimes while you're on the drugs, you're having trauma at the time, or when you're withdrawing, it's like post-trauma. It's like you've been traumatized, and now you're in this post-trauma state in withdrawal. And I think maybe the brain, to counteract the trauma, it does something in another part of the body, another part of the nervous system. That makes sense to me somehow, that it, like for benzos, the GABAergic system, like the things that, in my hypothesis, my theory, the things that it can do, and there are quite a few, you would think like it does them so rapidly that it could easily reverse them, if that, and probably, in many ways it probably does, but it has done something else, like when it first was exposed to the trauma, that needs to be reversed too. So it's like a double whammy almost. It can fix a certain part of the thing, but it probably through alteration of gene expression, it did this other thing that it can't reverse rapidly, and it takes a longer time, and maybe there is something actually that can be done. I read a part of a, what's it called, a double-blind study. It's a statistical study of individuals who got these injections in their stellate ganglion, and they attributed it to the placebo effect, but that was almost 2 years ago. That was an old study, and there's been a lot of work since then, apparently. And in that they said that because they were very hopeful, like if this does have like some utility, the fix is very easy. Like these injections are it doesn't take long. There's like no side effects hardly at all. Not like ECT and some of these other things that I've mentioned. So I'm very hopeful about that. I'll continue to look into it. There's not a lot of written in the research about it, though. I'm hoping to get the paper that the doctor on the doctor's show on television that he was referring to. He was an author of that, or a co-author. So I'm hoping to get that at some point. So I hope to do that this year. And if we can find something that actually addresses this, that actually does work, I can reduce the beard size to a more manageable level. And like I said, like when I started this, I had the little goatee, and now I got this, but I kind of like this. Like the whole Santa Claus thing is kind of funny during the holiday seasons, but it would be good to maybe cut it down here some. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I have. I'm looking forward to the new year, and I know it's hard. Like you just want, this is the end of the holiday season. I know it's hard on everyone, especially when you're not well and other people around you having a good time, and you're not able to be part of it because you don't feel well, and you know you should be feeling well and having a good time. That just makes you feel even worse. I know that. I remember those 3 holiday seasons very well. But it does end. I came out like the 3rd holiday season. I was coming out of it, and I was starting to see the light. I was feeling pretty decent. I thought, okay, this is going to end. I'm going to be well here before actually too long, and I was. I got better, and you will too. You just you get through each day and you do it, and I know there's gonna be a bunch of you like this coming year in 2017. You're gonna send me a message and say I'm feeling a lot better. I'll see you on Benzo Buddies, and I'll see a success story there, and I'll know who it is, or you'll email me and say, look, I'm so and so on Benzo Buddies. I wrote my success story. I got an email the other day from someone who they're at the end. Apparently, they're having the joy and the happiness and all that, and life is good, and it's extra good when you get to the end of this. Like I've said many times, it's not just, oh, I feel normal and better again. It's not just that. It's a whole lot better than that, and I look forward to that for every single one of you, because I know this is very difficult. I can't think of something worse, something harder. I haven't experienced everything in life, but I know benzo withdrawal and withdrawal from other psych drugs is very, very difficult, especially when it's like you have changed, and you know you have changed, but you don't know how to unchange. You don't know how to get back to where you were. I remember that very well. This time 7 years ago, it was like I was stuck. It was like everything from my past was bad and wrong and negative. I could see no future whatsoever. I thought there was no future. And I was in misery where I was. And it was in this room that I came in here, and, I was in a bad way. And I was thinking like, well, it's got to be better, somewhere else other than Earth. Glad I didn't do that. And you don't have to do that. You don't. And I know you think about it a lot. You think about, well, I would just rather not even be here. But there's good stuff coming. I'm hopeful for this year. I am hopeful that some of this research that's going on, that it can be applied to these drugs, to withdraw from these drugs, the trauma that they induce in many of us, and that we can find a quicker way and a better way, and we can all be happy, joyous, and free, because that's what awaits you. So, okay, as usual, I babbled on here. I'm at 22 and a half minutes. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, like a good New Year, because this could be the one. You're all going to be getting better this year. You're going to be healing this year, and I'm hoping that many of you, I'm hoping that all of you, like, can finally get to a place where you say, I feel better. I feel normal again. I feel better than normal. The day is coming. I promise that it is. Just takes time, and hopefully we'll find something to speed things up. So I'll be seeing you next year. You take care. Have a happy New Year. And as always, I'm right here, and I will be right here. Bye-bye.